Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. The City of Brownsville is informing residents of SpaceX Starship's potential 9th flight test launch tomorrow with a window between the hours of 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. As this occurs, you may hear sonic booms in the South Padre Island, Port Isabel, and Brownsville areas. These sounds are a result of the space vehicle slowing down from supersonic speeds. The City of Brownsville is preparing to launch a week of cosmic celebrations around the test flight, highlighting education, tourism, and science, all while showcasing the city's vital role in the future of space. Tuesday will be the 9th flight test launch. On Wednesday, the community is invited to the Space Symposium at Texas Southmost College from 4:30 to 7 p.m. On Friday, the excitement moves to the heart of the city for Space Fest in downtown Brownsville from 6 to 10 p.m., featuring music, food trucks, and hands-on activities. The week concludes Saturday with Titans of Space at the Children's Museum of Brownsville from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a well-known coastal site this time of year. You drive to the beach, and once you're there, you're surrounded by this brown, smelly-looking seaweed. We'll be beginning this week, and for the month of June, Beachcombing with Jace Tunnell will take a look at what it is and speak with experts from the Hart Research Institute about its environmental benefits. Jace joined KEDT on the phone last week to let people know what to expect.
The first one, we're going to have just general talking about sargassum, what it is, benefits, the challenges we have with it, and then we're going to kind of get into some details. I've interviewed one of our experts we have at the Hart Research Institute. Jim Dubois is a geologist, and so he's going to talk about the benefits of sargassum washing in and creating dunes, which in turn protects human lives because of storm surges and stuff like that. And then we're going to go into talking about specific organisms that live within the sargassum, so shrimp, crabs, a couple of fish species, just to highlight the importance of sargassum rather than people saying, oh, we got to get it off the beach. Well, maybe there's a balance there of maybe we keep some on the beach for the other benefits we have and then actually remove some for access for tourists and locals.
Satellite imaging shows a record-breaking 5,000 miles worth of it coming towards shores across the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. As temperatures rise, those totals are expected to grow. You can watch Beachcombing with Jace Tunnell on Saturdays at 7:45 p.m. on KEDT TV. Bernard Scott, Ganado's fire chief and emergency medical technician, died Friday morning at age 51. According to the City of Ganado's Facebook post, Scott began his service to the community in 2003, spending more than 20 years protecting residents and responding to emergencies. In tribute, Ganado officials said flags across the city will be lowered to half-staff until his memorial services are held. The City of Ganado shared a message on Facebook thanking Scott for his commitment. Fire departments and emergency crews from neighboring communities also expressed their condolences, remembering Scott as a compassionate and dedicated public servant who cared deeply for those he served. More Texas parents are opting to vaccinate their babies early against measles, nearly a 4.5-fold increase so far this year compared to 2019, according to the Texas Department of State Health Services. From January through April, over 7,100 children between the ages of 6 months and 8 months old were vaccinated for measles, which is typically reserved for infants about to travel internationally or living in a measles outbreak area. Otherwise, doctors usually administer the first dose of the vaccine when they turn 1 year old. For the same period in 2019, over 1,500 children between 6 months and 11 months old were vaccinated for measles. Texas has already seen temperatures hitting over 100 degrees this summer, and medical experts are now warning about the dangers of extreme heat for pregnancies. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies reports.
Pregnant women and their fetuses are particularly vulnerable to extreme heat, even in the early stages of pregnancy, according to Dr. Lindsay Darrow, professor of epidemiology in the School of Public Health at the University of Nevada, Reno.
Exposure to extreme heat can lead to adverse pregnancy outcomes. So things like preterm birth, stillbirth, potentially miscarriage.
Darrow said the longer the exposure to extreme heat, the more likely a pregnancy will be impacted, and high humidity is also a factor.
But we do absolutely know that humidity affects how hot a person feels and a person's ability to cool off.
Darrow said extreme heat could be causing dehydration to the expectant mother.
One hypothesis is that dehydration leads to a change in uterine blood flow, and that can trigger uterine contractions and lead to early labor and early delivery.
And extreme heat heat can trigger inflammation.
And inflammation is a concern in pregnancy as a potential trigger of labor.
Darrow said because of climate change and heat waves becoming more common, more research is needed, but it's clear that extreme heat is becoming a bigger public health issue. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
Beginning June 2nd, Corpus Christi Public Libraries will introduce 2 new library card options tailored for patrons under 18. The new options include the juvenile card, intended for children through age 12, and the teen card for ages 13 through 17. These cards will limit card holders to checking out materials only from the designated juvenile and teen sections. The current youth library card will remain an available option. The launch of this initiative will coincide with the start of the Color Our World Summer Reading Program for children and teens, which will run through July 27th. Participants will receive various incentives, including the Mayor's Reading Challenge Certificate for children ages 12 and under, and prizes funded by community partners and the Friends of Corpus Christi Public Libraries. All 3 library card options for minors will be available at all 6 library branches. The Texas House has voted to require the display of the 10 Commandments in all public school classrooms. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider says Senate Bill 10 is all but certain to lead to a First Amendment court challenge.
Republican State Representative Candy Noble sponsored the measure in the House.
The displaying of the 10 Commandments in our Texas classrooms will bring back this historic tradition of recognizing America's foundational heritage in both our educational and judicial systems and remind students of the importance of this cornerstone of American and Texas law.
During debate, several Democrats said roughly a third of Texans are neither Christian nor Jewish and do not consider the 10 Commandments foundational to their belief systems. Following a final concurrence by the state Senate, the bill will go to Governor Greg Abbott, who is expected to sign it. I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
House Republicans have sent their budget reconciliation bill to the Senate. The spending bill would cut hundreds of billions of dollars from anti-hunger program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. Texas Public Radio's Paul Flaff reports.
The nearly $300 billion in cuts being proposed push the cost of food benefits onto the states for the first time. Northwestern University economist Diane Schanzenbach says if the U.S. sinks into a recession, states with shrinking revenues and must-balance budgets won't be able to afford it.
We'd be setting up a situation where just when people are most needing SNAP benefits, they're hardest to get.
The proposal also increases work requirements on the poor, which Schanzenbach says will push people off the program but will do little to increase labor participation. The Senate will take up the bill in coming days. I'm Paul Flav in San Antonio.
The bill will push billions of costs down to the states and push people off the low-income feeding program with work requirements. Texas Public Radio takes us to speak with those who will be most severely affected by these cuts.
Looking out from under his ball cap with the words Marines stitched across the bill, Richard Maldonado's eyes are tired. He got to this parking lot on San Antonio's southwest side at 4 a.m. for a food bank distribution. It doesn't start until 9, but he says he didn't want to miss out.
Without them, we'd be in bad shape.
Sitting next to him, Karina Gutierrez says her SNAP dollars, which she still calls food stamps, are running out more quickly, and they have to rely even more on the San Antonio Food Bank.
We get the stamps once a month, and before we know it, by almost 2 weeks, we're out of food, so we have to go get help.
The couple are in their 60s and 70s. Maldonado worries there will be less food to go around if the government cuts SNAP, and they'll have to turn to family for help.
We're going to be dependent on people like donating money or food or whatever.
Up ahead, teams of volunteers cut open 50-pound bags of white onions. Next to them, volunteers rush to break down pallets of limes, canned green beans, broccoli, and yellow squash.
Squash going into this bag, so you're just going to keep on filling up squash.
More than 250 cars are already in line for food, and more keep showing up.
As the administration moves towards budget reconciliation, we have less food in our warehouse to serve lines like this.
San Antonio Food Bank CEO Eric Cooper says his organization has lost $8 million in federal funding in Trump's first 100 days. SNAP helped more than 41 million people afford food in an average month in 2024, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, a nonpartisan research institute. If the GOP's reconciliation bill ends up passing, the center warns that expanded work requirements would strip food assistance from millions of Americans, and food banks would have to step in to bridge the gap.
The trickle down will be rationing. I'll take the food that we have here at the distribution, cut it in half, and then basically give families less.
The reconciliation bill would also require states to pay a portion of the food benefit costs for the first time. And the Northwestern University economist Diane Schanzenbach says if the U.S. sinks into a recession, states with shrinking revenues and must balance budgets won't be able to afford it.
We'd be setting up a situation where just when people are most needing SNAP benefits, they're hardest to get.
Back at the food distribution, the line is moments away from moving. Jesse Monsivez says every little bit helps for people like him.
And you go to the store, you get 2 bags, that's already like $50. You ain't got nothing in them. I think these lines are going to get longer if they cut everything.
Lines of cars filled with hungry people that may end up getting less food. I'm Paul Flav in San Antonio.
And a long-awaited renovation project for Parker Pool has finally reached completion, marked by a ribbon-cutting ceremony last week. The pool's journey began in 2013 when the city decided to close the facility on Graham Road near Waldron due to budget cuts. A group called Coastal Bend Friends of Aquatics stepped in to keep the pool open. Last year, Nueces County Precinct 4 funded the $550,000 renovation project. Parker Pool is open for the Memorial Day weekend. It closes after today, but will reopen for the summer the following weekend. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.